What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and it is officially Strixhaven launch day. So we'll be talking all about Strixhaven, a Curriculum of Chaos in the next couple of videos, and I do realize that I did not get a chance to finish talking about Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, so as time goes on, you're going to get a mixture of Fizban's mixed with Strixhaven, but it's the new hotness, so everybody wants to talk about Strixhaven, so that's what we'll talk about. That being said, the Fizban's Treasury of Dragons giveaway did end. I will be contacting the winners later today, and then once I get my extra copies of Strixhaven, I'll be doing a giveaway of that as well, so keep an eye on all of the Nerd Immersion social media. Also, 86.8K, so if you'd like to see that number go up as much as I would, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and you'll be sure to stay up to date on all of this cool new stuff. So first up is the Owlin race. This was previously called the Owl Folk race, released in the Folk of the Faewild Unearthed Arcana, and there are some changes, and in my opinion, unfortunately, they are all nerfs in every aspect. But let's go ahead and take a look. So here we are on Dnd Beyond with the Owlin race. If we scroll down, we'll see some standard stuff we're used to seeing now. Ability score improvements are either +2, +1, or +1 to 3 ability scores. Common and another language of your choice. Creature type, this is standard stuff. Owlin are humanoid, so no issues there. Lifespan, it does say typically a century. Unfortunately, I did enjoy in Wild Beyond the Witchlight, I think it was Wild Beyond the Witchlight, where they gave us the little qualifier that said, like, these races live roughly this long. Whereas now it kind of just says that all characters live about a century, and it doesn't give us anything different here for the Owlin. And then the height and weight, you basically just pick what you want at this point. Now, here's some cool art showing a couple of different Owlins shooting some magic, and we can scroll down and see what they have. Again, it does not give us any information here about... It does tell us here they make no sound when they move or fly, but I think that is purely just a flavor thing, not an actual mechanic in the game. It's kind of explained here in a second, but you are humanoid, you are medium or small. You choose this when you select the race. Your walking speed is 30 feet. Now, if we were to go and look at Folk of the Faewild, which I meant to scroll down to this ahead of time, everything is standard so far. However, in the original Folk of the Faewild Unearthed Arcana, your dark vision went out to 90 feet. It is now 120 feet. I'm okay with that. That's much more in line with what we're used to seeing. I thought 90 feet was a little funky, but there was no issues with that. So they have buffed your dark vision to go from 90 feet to 120 feet in the final version. That's all good. Now, considering the flight, however, it was called Nimble Flight, and you got a fly speed equal to your walking speed, which, if we were keeping track so far, is 30 feet. And they also gave them this nice little bit here that says when you fall, you can use your reaction to make a, get rid of this, dexterity saving throw, DC 10, to stop falling and fly in place until the start of your next turn. Now, I really liked that ability. That's not anything we'd seen in the past, and I thought it was really cool. It reminds me of things in older editions where flying creatures had this sort of innate ability to, like, duck hunt spiral down by locking their wings out and reduce falling damage. I thought that was really cool. It was a unique thing. They have since removed that, and they've added one of the worst qualifiers, in my opinion. Thanks to your wings, you have a flying speed equal to your walking speed. You can't use this flying speed if you're wearing medium or heavy armor. Now that sucks. Was that probably supposed to be here in the original Unearthed Arcana? I'm going to assume yes, because if you recall, the fairy also had flight that wasn't restricted by armor. Now both the fairy and the Owlin only have it while wearing light or no armor, which I do believe sucks, because that means your concept of being a heavy armor, or even a medium armor wearing like Owlin cleric, Owlin anything really, or fairy if we go back to Folk of the Wild Beyond the Witchlight, that's been completely removed. So now it is, and no cool reactionary wing thing. And then they basically gave you proficiency in the stealth skill. That ability is called Silent Feathers. It was originally called Silent Feathers as well. So it's proficiency in one skill. Okay, but you'll also notice that this is completely missing. They used to have this ability called Magic Sight. You gain the ability to cast Detect Magic, but only as a ritual. It's intelligence, wisdom, or charisma based, and you choose when you cast this spell, and then the lovely new language we have for most spellcasting races, you can also cast this spell normally with any spell slots you have. So yeah, in my opinion, it is wholly nerfs across the board, with a small buff to the dark vision range going from 90 to 120, but we have reduced the cool reaction thing, which I do think is awesome, and it would have been... I hope this piece here makes a comeback at some point. This, when you fall, you can use your reaction to make a dexterity saving throw DC 10 to stop falling and fly in place. I think that's really cool. I hope it gets rebaked into the game in some form, whether it's a racial thing, a magic item, a feat, something. It should come back. I think it's really cool. And honestly, maybe this will be something that in 2024 we see in these updated rules is applied to all flying creatures across the board. I don't know. I'm a little bummed to see that go. It was a cool reaction thing. One of the biggest downsides, as everyone knows, of flying is falling. Right? And if your ability doesn't say anywhere that you can hover, if you take falling damage or your speed is reduced to 0, or sorry, not falling damage, if you are knocked prone or your speed is reduced to 0, you plummet to the earth. That's a function of how that works. So where if anything says you can hover, like right here for the fairy, it says you can hover, that means you're immune to that. However, this normally you would just fall, but again, the Owlin had this ability. And again, the Detect Magic is not a game-breaking ability. It has a lot of uses, so I kind of thought that made sense. So overall, they gave the Owlin less abilities with a little bit more dark vision. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe I'm way off base here. I think it seems like nerfs across the board. I would have liked to seen... I really didn't think it was that... I thought it was a pretty solid race as it stood. I can understand maybe the concept of removing the medium or heavy armor, or adding the medium or heavy armor restriction. I'd be more along the lines to say the heavy armor restriction, at least let them wear medium armor, but I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and we'll be back with more Strixhaven content in the future covering things like the new backgrounds, the new feats that are associated with the backgrounds, the couple of new spells, including what a lot of people can consider to be some pretty OP ones, depending on how you look at it, and a handful of new magic items as well as we move on from there. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.